Hello, I think I'm getting recorded. Welcome to Baking with Pam. And this is a special video for my scone loving friends out there. And I wanted to do this, Laura and Lisa, I wanted to let y'all know about it because I want you to see, you had questions about the amount of whipping cream, Laura, that goes into when you're trying to get everything pulled together. So I'm doing this so that you can see what the batter looks like, because you do have to keep adding extra whipping cream. But it's also for all my, like I said, scone loving friends out there. I am definitely a scone addict, and I hope that y'all will like this recipe. I have tried so many different recipes, and this is definitely my favorite, and it's very, very easy. So I'm going to try to get through this really quick. I don't know exactly how to do it except to do a YouTube video in my reading with Mimi. I think it's where I read books for my grandbabies. So it's going to be kind of mixed in there with all my books until we can figure out what to do. But hopefully my wonderful brother, who will be my assistant in putting, or my helper in putting the videos together, will figure out what to do with this. And he is also a big scone lover, so it's for him too. And my mom and my sister too. Hopefully one day they'll get to have some pretty soon. Anyway, okay, so this is what I'm going to try to do it really quick. Okay, this is lemon blueberry scones. And to start with, in my bowl here, I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 6 tablespoons of granulated sugar, and I'm going to, and I have 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So anyway, all my dry ingredients are in here, except I need to add lemon zest. And it calls for a tablespoon. I don't know if you can see it, but I wonder if I could pull this over here. Let me bring you over to my counter. This is where I have all the ingredients, the sugar, the flour, the salt, the baking powder, vanilla, sprinkling salt, lemon juice, lemon zest, all the goodies. And the butter is in the butter, and the egg and the vanilla is all in the fridge. So, but anyway, I just wanted you to see where I zested the lemons already. I love, love, love this zester. And I got some delicious lemon juice. These smell so good, y'all can't leave this part out. I tried this recipe when I didn't have lemons the other day with just the real lemon juice, and it's not the same because this smells so, so good. And it goes great with my fresh frozen blueberries. So anyway, okay, so now what I need to do is take all my dry ingredients and add the tablespoon of lemon zest. So let me scoop up. Okay. All right, so here's the tablespoon of lemon zest. I'm just going to kind of whisk it into the flour like this. I don't know. I need a photographer assistant. But I use the whisk to just kind of separate the zest to make sure it gets really incorporated into the flour. I wish you had smell-o-vision because it smells so, so good. All right. So here we got, like I said, flour, sugar, lemon zest, baking powder, and salt, all into the dry ingredients. And now it is time to take some frozen butter. And that is a very special part of this recipe. I take a stick of butter that's been in the freezer. The recipe calls for unsalted, but I didn't have any. I had to use salted, which is fine. I really can't tell a difference. I've done both. But anyhow, so what I did ahead of time is I went ahead and grated my butter. I have some helpful hints about that. If you take your butter straight out of the freezer and try to grate it, you could grate your knuckles. Trust me, it hurts. It's happened. And then you don't know where all that grated skin went, so you have to throw everything away and start over again. It's so gross and it's so painful. I did that making biscuits because I also use frozen butter when I make biscuits. Maybe I'll do a video about my biscuits one day. So anyway, that's a helpful hint. When I start getting all my ingredients together, I go ahead and pull the frozen butter out of the freezer and let it soften just a little bit to make it, and I coat it in flour, and I even sprinkle some flour on my grater so that it doesn't stick to the grater so much. So it helps a lot. And then you're going to refreeze the butter anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's easier to grate it if it's kind of almost frozen. You know, you want it really cold when you grate it. Part of the trick to this scone recipe is keeping everything very, very cold. So what I also did is I took 1 egg and I took 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream, and I mixed that together already, and I have it back in the refrigerator to keep it cold while I'm doing all this other stuff. So anyway, okay, so now it's time to go get that frozen butter out of my freezer. I'll be right back. Okay, so here it is. So you can see, hopefully, without, I know I have a glare. Oh well. Anyway, so it's all frozen. My hands are clean. So I'm going to take the frozen butter and kind of sprinkle it down into the flour mixture. And I use parchment paper to, in the meantime, I'm going to be using my fingers to kind of incorporate this butter. And you got to work fast to keep the butter cold. So I use parchment paper to grate my butter onto, and then I can just pick it up and go carefully put it in the freezer for a while. And then I put the parchment paper on my baking sheet, like so. So when I get ready to put them in the oven, I can just bake them on the parchment paper. And they seem to do really well that way. Okay, so now I've got the butter. Oh, you know, you could use a pastry cutter, but you don't really need to if it's frozen really well, because it breaks up pretty good into little pieces. All right, now comes the time for the heavy. It's a 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream and the egg. And then it also, let me think about it. What is it on here? I can't remember. Oh, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, pure vanilla extract. Let me get that. Okay. All right, so that is what is in here. The egg, the heavy whipping cream, the vanilla extract, and it's really, really cold. So I'm going to add that to my mixture really quickly. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go get my metal spoon. I like to use this because it kind of gets cold and works really well instead of a rubber spatula. All right, so now I'm going to slowly drizzle the liquid into the dry ingredients to get it mixed in really well. I wish I had a camera over my head, then you could see what it looks like. This is when you have to work real quick because you want everything to stay super cold. I have to tell you though, I always end up adding almost another 1/2 cup of whipping cream when I make this recipe, so to get it to stick together, because I don't know if you can see, but anyway, let me stir it a little bit more. You want it to come together in a ball, and so this is still with that measurement. You can see there's, I wish you could see. Let me do it like this. Okay. I don't know if you can tell. I gotta do it quick, but you can tell that it's not coming together in a ball. So I'm gonna go get some more whipping cream. Okay. All right. So what I do is I just start drizzling a little bit of whipping cream. Laura, pay attention. This is the part I was talking to you about. I drizzle a little bit. I know you're paying attention. I'm just being funny. Okay. Anyway, so I've put a little bit around the edges, just a little bit at a time. And it's starting to get all moistened, but I still see dry flour in the bottom. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more. I've measured it before just to see, and it does end up almost being another 1/2 cup. So for me total, it's almost a cup of flour. But there's still like crumbs down there in the bottom up here. See? So I'm going to sprinkle a little more in there around the edges to get the part in the very bottom. Okay. I don't really see how it's starting to come together. Okay. See how it's kind of coming together where if I put my hands in there, it would be a ball. Well, now it's time to add the blueberries. So that's what I wait till the last minute to do that. Let me go get the blueberries. These are from our garden right outside. Just the other day I picked them. And what I do when I pick them, I rinse them just in case they got dust or something, dirt or whatever. Dirty rain, whatever. I don't know. I rinse them I soak them in water just a few minutes, then I rinse them off really well. Then I spread them out on a pan with a dish towel and some paper towels and make a, is this working? Wow, it's going really fast. Something's wrong. Anyway, maybe not. So I roll them around with my hands and I make sure they get really dry because I want them to be really, really dry and before I freeze them. So when they're dry, I put them in a Ziploc bag and they're like little marbles and they don't have those crystals that form on them. If you have wet blueberries and you freeze them, they don't work good because then you'll have soggy scones because they'll be wet. Okay, so I need a measuring cup. So I'm going to take a cup of blueberries like that and pour them in. And by the way, I tried them with fresh blueberries, not a good idea because the dough is stiff and you will crush them all and have a big old mess on your hands. The frozen ones are like I said, they're like little marbles. They're so pretty, and they're so easy to just to kind of smash into your dough. So anyway, okay. So now I gotta figure out how to do this. Okay, so now it's time to put the dough out on the countertop and roll it into a ball. Okay, so I'm gonna do this over here. I'm gonna get some flour and sprinkle it all over my very clean countertop. Let me see if I can maybe do this so y'all can see. Okay, all right, so what happens is I take this, I'm gonna make sure this is in a nice, I try to make sure all the blueberries have been pretty much incorporated into the dough. Okay, here's my dough. I got a few more scrapes out of it. Well, this turned out to be a long video. Okay. I can see all the lemon zest in there and it smells so good. Okay. So what you do, you don't handle it too much because you want to keep it cold. So you form it into a ball. Do it like that. Okay. A disc, and you can, see, it's like a big giant cookie. And you can make it, the disc bigger if you want, thinner scones, or if you like thick scones. It's just up to you. All right, so I'm gonna do them like that. Make sure they're sticking together pretty good. Turn it around. Okay. You'll get the feel of it after you try this. Okay, perfect. Okay, now, I feel like that's packed in there pretty well. And I take my fancy sharp knife, flour it, and then I cut it into wedges. I cut it in half. Some more flour. Then I cut it in half the other way. So now I have 4 quarters. And now I cut each quarter in half. So I'm going to end up with 8 scones. There they are. See, nice thickness. So I'm going to put them on this pan and I'm going to brush the tops of them with a little bit of heavy whipping cream. And then they're going to go back in the freezer and they're going to refreeze a little bit. So let me spread them out. All right. You know what? Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna put a little heavy whipping cream in here and get my brush and just do a very, very light coating on them. You can do this before you put them in the freezer or after. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna do them before. And then before I put them in the oven, I'm gonna sprinkle some like granulated sugar on top. Some fancy granulated sugar. Okay, they're ready to go in the freezer, and I will have to stop this video and I'll come back when they're ready to come out of the freezer, and I will check back with you soon. I guess I have to stop. I don't know. Maybe what I need to do, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. This is, I don't have much left. This is the sparkling sugar. Can you see? Sparkling sugar. This is what I sprinkle on the top. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that now. I don't put a lot because I don't like a whole lot of, I don't like mine to be really sweet. I'm a tea addict and a scone addict. So I was gonna make these for my new neighbors next door. Well, that's what I'm trying to do, but you know what? I might have to make another batch tomorrow, depending on how many of these get eaten before I take them. All right, so now they're gonna go in the freezer for a while, and then when I get ready to, I'm gonna put them in the oven, and then I'll come back afterwards and show you about the glaze. I'll check back soon. Don't go away. Bye.